It's time for My Week in Trucking, week number 24, the week that ran from June 4th to June 10th. Let's talk about it. Coming up.
Welcome to the bustling, ever-active universe of a truck stop fuel island. You're watching a 6-hour symphony of activity, artfully compressed into a 3-minute ballet of diesel and determination. This performance was recorded live at Flying J Travel Center 671, nestled in the heart of Matthews, Missouri. Today, we're unraveling a topic that's not always front and center, but plays a pivotal role in the world of trucking fuel island etiquette, or how to win friends and influence people at the pump. The time lapse plays out like a finely tuned dance, with truck after truck arriving and departing, keeping the rhythm of the road alive. In this dance, every move you make has an impact on the drivers around you as you pull into your spot at the pump. Make sure to position your rig so that the driver waiting in line behind you can start fueling as well. It may not be the nutcracker, but maintaining rhythm at the pump helps everything flow smoothly. If you can, fuel both tanks at once. The minutes saved at the pump means more time to relish those tantalizing truck stop snacks. Now watch closely for the drivers who seem to glide through their pit stops. Their secret weapon is technology. Many truck stops, like our friend the Flying J here, offer apps that turbocharge the authorization process at the pump. It's like having a VIP pass at a theme park, but for your rig. And the bonus round? These apps often reward you with points that can be redeemed for free snacks or drinks. Less time fueling means more goodies. Sounds like a trucker's dream, doesn't it? In the midst of this orchestrated dance of diesel and rigs, cleanliness is a star performer. We're not in a backyard workshop here, so let's keep things spotless. Dispose of trash correctly, and swiftly handle any spills. It's the leave no trace philosophy for the trucking world. Your fellow drivers and the hardworking janitorial staff will appreciate your efforts. After your rig's thirst is quenched, be sure to clear the stage, or rather, the pump, before you sprint off for a restroom break or a snack hunt. Keeping the fuel bay free isn't just about maintaining flow. It's a sign of respect for your fellow drivers, silently saying, I value your time as much as my own. And in this ballet of big rigs, a touch of courtesy is crucial. A nod, a wave, a friendly hello, even a simple smile can brighten someone's day. Good manners never go out of style, even on the open road. And so we've explored the delicate choreography of fuel island etiquette. It's a dance that involves efficiency, cleanliness, consideration, and a sprinkle of good old-fashioned courtesy. Remember these moves next time you take the stage at the fuel island. Let's dive into my logs for this week. I had 2,558 dispatched miles. My logged miles came in higher at 2,811 miles. And the odometer, it clocked 2,814 miles. You'll notice that my logged miles exceed the dispatched miles. This indicates that I'm going to have some carryover. Carryover is something we always have to think about when looking at a compensation statement. This week, my average net speed was 55 miles per hour. Keep in mind, net speed is calculated by dividing the number of miles driven for the week by the number of hours on the drive line. It's not what my cruise control is set at. I've also calculated my utilization percentage and drive percentage. The utilization percentage is determined by dividing 70 hours by 8 days. So a perfect week, hitting 100% utilization, would mean I've clocked in 61.25 hours. The drive percentage is straightforward. It's the fraction of my total on-duty time that I spent on the drive line. Let's not forget the day marked in orange. That's an on the day off. A 34-hour reset. I'm paid for those here at Cheeseman. Remember, it's more than CPM. We are paid for everything we do. We're now taking a look at my unedited pay statement for period number 24 of 2023. This statement encompasses all the trips I completed between June 4th and June 16th. This particular week, the first and only trip on my pay statement turned out to be quite a long one. In the world of less than truckload LTL trucking, there can be instances where pickups and deliveries continue to get added to the current trip. The solitary trip of this week was a round trip, beginning and ending at the Fort Recovery, Ohio terminal. This journey took me through an array of stops including Decatur, Alabama, Hanceville, Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, Spanish Fort, Alabama, Metairie, Louisiana, Mobile, Alabama, Texarkana, Arkansas, Fort Smith, Arkansas, and finally, Springdale, Arkansas. The payout for this extensive trip covering 2,558 miles was $2,054. Transitioning to the summary box now, this pay period saw me earning $45 in detention pay. It's unusual for me to receive detention pay, not because Cheeseman doesn't compensate for it, but rather due to the infrequency of us being detained. The downward securement category is a new addition. This involves compensation for installing or removing J-track strapping on forklifts over 10,000 pounds that are transported on their wheels. This particular task added $22 to my pay. Other earnings include $104 for empty miles, $69 for handling and securement, and $100 for a layover, which is a 34-hour reset. Additionally, I earned $1,532 for loaded miles and $180 in stop pay. Finally, the gross pay for the week amounted to $2,054 for 2,559 dispatched miles. When we break that down, it equates to a rate of 80 cents per mile. Let's do some math. We're 24 weeks into the year, and so far I've grossed $52,081. I've also driven 67,375 miles. That's like driving around the earth almost 3 times, and we're not even at the end of the year. Every week, I'm grossing about $2,170 and cruising around for about 2,807 miles. I guess you could say my office really has a great moving view. Now, if I multiply these numbers by 52, the total weeks in a year, I find some big numbers. I'll have grossed a whopping $112,844 and driven 145,979 miles by the end of the year. That's almost enough to reach the moon. Not a bad year in the office, huh? Now let's flip over to the calendar. This week I was a road warrior for 6 days and took a single day off on the road for a 34-hour reset. As for the month of June, it's been 9 days of work, 3 days of relaxation at home, and 1 34-hour reset on the open road. Taking a broader look at the year so far, I've put in 119 days of work, enjoyed 28 days of home sweet home, and had 14 roadside vacations or days off on the road. All right, let's shift gears and explore how the compensation would look if it were broken down on an hourly basis. Keep in mind, this is just a hypothetical situation. Most truck drivers are actually not paid by the hour and don't get overtime pay. So consider this a fun little what-if game. For this past week, my gross pay was $2,054, and I clocked in 59.2 hours of work, a walk in the park by my standards. Now, in a typical hourly job, that would be divided into 40 regular hours and 19.2 hours of overtime. If we use that breakdown, it turns out my effective pay rate would be about $29.86 per hour. But let's say there was no overtime and it was all straight pay. In that case, my hourly rate would have been around $34.71. Taking a broader view and looking at the year to date, I've earned a total of $52,081 and worked a hefty 1,474 hours. Out of those hours, 1,072 would be considered regular time, and the remaining 402 would count as overtime if we were calculating it on a weekly basis. In this scenario, my effective pay rate, including overtime, would come out to about $31.09 per hour. However, if we were to calculate it all as straight time, it would be approximately $35.33 per hour.
I can't tell you how many times people have said that I'm lucky to be at Cheeseman. How fortunate you are to have found Cheeseman. Luck had nothing to do with it. Wasn't fortunate. No one answered my prayers. It was a case of networking and research. And that's what it takes for you to find a good job that you're going to be happy with. Doesn't necessarily have to be Cheeseman. There are many good companies out here. But I want to tell you a secret. The good companies aren't the ones advertising. They don't have to, because they don't have a lot of open trucks, especially not in today's climate. Today, the industry is in a bit of a flux. 2 years ago, you needed to have a Pulse and a CDL. And many companies were willing to waive one of the two. Things have changed a lot since then. Now it's a game of musical chairs. Will you have a seat when the music stops playing? Will you have the seat you want to be in when the music stops playing? It's important that you take control of your own career. You're not going to luck into it. The job's not going to come and find you. You've got to go find it. Get into your networking and researching and find a company that has good culture, home time, equipment, compensation, and knowledge. If you find that, you'll never work a day because you'll be very happy. Until next time, make sure you're enjoying every day at work.